Hello, scumbags. It's me, Andrew Fantasia. Welcome back to the final day of Summer of Legends. Yes, I know, technically it's not really summer anymore, but if the movie Space Jam has taught us anything, and my god has it ever, it's that the best kinds of things are the things that we need to take into overtime. So without further ado, let's get the tail end of this summer party started. As I mentioned last time, we're taking a look at Star Wars miniatures. So let's hit a different location, and as you'll probably be able to see, a different wardrobe, and I'll tell you all about them. Okay, so this is the Wizards of the Coast Star Wars miniatures game. There's their logo right there. This was before Fantasy Flight owned all of the Star Wars gaming products. And what this was, see right here, this was my first thing that I got. This was my gateway drug into this madness. This is the starter game for Revenge of the Sith. And the box says everything I need to start playing now. Thank God. Otherwise, I would have been up Shit's Creek. In here, I have my commons. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But there's some Star Wars miniatures right there. Boom, there we go. And these are my commons. Because what Wizard of the Coast likes to do, and if you played Magic the Gathering, or know anybody who plays Magic the Gathering, you know exactly where this is going, they separate their collectibles into different categories. So you have common, uncommon, rare, and mythic rare. Obviously, you get more commons than anything, so my big box here is full of commons. And you can tell they're common because it's just like, hey, this is a clone trooper. And his blaster is hideously bent. But yeah, that's a clone trooper. That's what a clone looks like, and it shows you on the bottom there what number he is. That symbol up there means he's from a particular set. Then he's number 7 out of 60 in that set. He's Republic faction. The 9 is how many points he's worth, and then it says the clone trooper name, legal BS, and then that little circle there means he is a common. The circle denotes commonality. So if anybody's got a circle on their bodies, guess what? You are not rare. That's a mean thing to say. I'm sorry. And anyway, commons are just a vast mixture of different things. Like, for example, I just grab a random guy here. This guy, what is he? He's some kind of scout trooper. He's a Raxus Prime trooper. It's kind of hard to see there. Stormtroopers, obviously, and clones, very, very big in the common world. You'll find them everywhere, as you will also find just like a random rebel guy. He is a Dracelian commando. And see at the bottom there, it says Rebel, and other things. And then you have these ones, these square base ones you notice. This is a Yuuzhan Vong soldier or something, advanced scout. And the reason it has a square base was because this particular set was like the anniversary set or something. It was like Star Wars' 30th anniversary or something like that. Unfortunately, something with these square bases collects dust just like bees to honey. I don't know what it is, but these square bases just get dusty all on their own, even though this has been sitting in a box. Square base, covered in dust. Round base, clean. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And of course, you know, commons speak for themselves. Like, of course, battle droids would be common. Of course, stormtroopers and clones would be common. There's some more Yuuzhan Vong. There's like a rebel pilot here. He's another anniversary. Look at all the dust. I don't know how that works. That is witchcraft. But yeah, these are the common miniatures, and the way they work is you would build an army with them based on how many points they're worth. So like I showed you there, that number there, 9, Republic 9. So this guy is worth, this Kashyyyk trooper is worth 9 points, and you have a limit. I think the limit is like 80 points or something. So you get to build an army, and it's like, okay, so far I have 9 points. This guy is worth 7 points, and see, he's a fringe character. It says fringe there, which means he can be on any team. He doesn't have to obey the laws of politics. So he could theoretically team up with this Republic character, but according to the rules of the game, this Mandalorian could not, because he is part of the Mandalorian faction. Nor could a Yuuzhan Vong. They could not team up with the Republic, again, according to the game's rules. You know, if you played like me, I was just a free-for-all. I'm like, okay, here's a clone trooper, and the clone trooper is working with the Empire Stormtrooper robot and also a New Republic Jedi Knight, because why not? That was just how I like to play. I like to mix and match. But if you're playing by the hardcore rules, you either have one complete set of all like separatists or all Empire or all rebels, Or you could throw in some Fringe characters like this in here, because Fringe is like a wild card. It can go anywhere. And they just came out with all these cool pre-painted minis. These are, I should mention, pre-painted. I did not paint any of these because I'm not that talented. Here's another Fringe guy. He's an Arcona smuggler. He's pretty much the guy we saw in the cantina. And he's like, hey, what's up? I'm smuggling. And different characters like this. This is a New Republic character. See, New Republic. She is worth 21. She's a young Jedi Knight. So see, 21 points. That's already a big chunk of change, especially if I think the point limit is 80. So, you know, that's a quarter of your points already gone. So that tells you that this character is a lot more skilled than that one little clone who was only worth, you know, 6 points. And also, as you probably noticed, some of them are different sizes. Like this Bith character, he is a medium-sized character. But if I stand him up, you know, next to this Ugnaught, the Ugnaughts base is smaller. He takes up less room. Same with this little R2 unit, or R4 unit, excuse me. And then this big Imperial, what is this guy called? He's like a Dark Trooper, right? Yeah, Dark Trooper Phase 1. He's bigger. So you got different sizes of characters too. And there are characters who are even bigger than him. But we'll get there when we get there. So those are my commons. That's my box of commons. There are a bunch of them. They're beautiful. I just, you know, I was addicted to these. I was so addicted to these back in the day. And I loved just cracking open a booster pack of these and never knowing what I was going to come across. Here's a Gungan. Here you go, James. Look at this. That is a Gungan soldier. I think that's what he's, Gungan infantry. And look, he's got a Dabuma. Misa no have a Dabuma, but he has a Dabuma. I think this might be the only Star Wars game ever where you can use a Buma as a weapon. And if I'm wrong on that, please let me know, because there need to be more games with Bumas as weapons. But yeah, you can tell my commons, there's a lot of repeats. There's a lot, you see a lot of clones, a lot of these guys. Just because they're so common, you get them a lot. This guy's cool. He's a Nautolan soldier. He's from Kit Fisto's race. And look, his green dreads are flowing in the wind. Beautiful. The sculptures that they use are just great. Here's a Geonosian, and here is an Utapau soldier with a cool shield. Like, they just look awesome. God, I wish they had done these things for the new era, because it would be really neat to have miniatures like this of, you know, Kylo Ren and the Canto Bight Casino officers, who would definitely be common if that was the case. They would definitely be common characters. Here's a Coruscant guard. He's just a red guard. He's like a Coruscant cop with a baton. Great stuff, right? Plain and simple. Those are the basics. Those are commons. There's the droid again. Roger, Roger. This one actually is a droid sergeant, I think, because he's red. Do I still remember my ranks? He's a security droid. My bad. I knew it started with an S. Security battle droid. But that is the common box that I've got of Star Wars minis. Now let's move up a notch. All right, so this is my box of uncommons. But I should preface this by saying this box here is not affiliated with Star Wars miniatures. This was some weird tabletop RPG that I bought ages ago during the Phantom Menace era. It was Invasion of Theed. It was a Star Wars role-playing game thing. I don't even know who made it. I don't see, like, Hasbro. Oh, okay, it was Hasbro, because it came with a Hasbro action figure of a Wookiee, which I still have somewhere. But it's a very weird RPG. It's I guess it belongs to the Star Wars RPG thing, but it's made by Hasbro, not West End. I don't know more about it, unfortunately. But yeah, I just used the box because the box fit what I wanted. So these are my uncommons. Uncommons are, as you can probably guess, less common than commons. And already you can tell these just look like way cooler characters than what we've seen in the common box. So this guy, let's see, we turn him over, see what he is. All right, so his faction that he's part of is the Sith. He is worth, and by Sith, that denotes ancient Sith, so he's from the Old Republic. He's worth 29 points, so he's worth quite a bit, and he is called the Dark Jedi Master. And that diamond at the bottom is the uncommon symbol. And look how cool he is. What a handsome, handsome man. I don't know what he's got going on. He's got like a shredder helmet thing going on there. He's got a red cape that kind of billows, and it's got a cut in it, and a lightsaber, because who doesn't like those? And he's a Dark Jedi Master. Awesome. This is what you crack these boxes open looking forward to seeing, is stuff like this. And as we sweep through this whole thing here, you can see all kinds of other goodies. The uncommons were actually some of my favorites, because you never knew what you were going to get. Like this, for example, is a heavy stormtrooper. So this is a stormtrooper who's been eating one too many banana cream sundaes. Is that even a thing? But yeah, he's heavy. He weighs a lot, and he's got a big gun. That's why he is a heavy trooper. Here is, oh, that's cool. He's a Quarren, I think, Enforcer, Quarren Assassin. And then you'll notice a few of these guys that I have in triplicate here. Let me just pull one out here. This is a Dark Hellion Marauder on Swoop Bike. And he's only worth 10 points, so he's probably not that great, but he's a fringe, which means you can put him in any army you want. He's just a guy with sunglasses who's like, hey, what's up? And he's on a swoop bike, and he's got a gun. And they use these, these things to sort of show you that this thing's supposed to be floating. It's not actually attached to the ground. So this guy just runs around, and he's like, I'm swooping. And you add him to your party. And I ended up getting 3 of him for some reason. But yeah, that's him. And I don't know what the Dark Hellion Marauders are, but I can tell you one thing. They're definitely not canon anymore. Here's a Senate Guard from the Phantom Menace, the guys who guard Palpatine before he becomes Chancellor. Isn't that great? That is a beautiful, beautiful figurine. And then, of course, after he becomes Chancellor, he gets the Red Imperial Guards, which I also have a beautiful figure. Look at that. That is sexy, man. Let's see how much these guys are worth. Only 11 points. So they're good, but not great. But then, I keep saying that they're good, not great, but the way the points work doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad figure. It might even be better where it's like, hey, here's this character who's got really good attributes and he's cheap. He doesn't cost many points. And I'll show you what the characters do later. There's cards that go with everybody. Here's another Yuuzhan Vong. He's having a great time. He's got a stick. Here's a Rodian with dust on his base. There's the Nexu, the creature from the Geonosis Colosseum who attacked Padme. Look at that. That's beautiful. He is popping right off of his base because he's just that eager to eat somebody's face. And again, you'll notice he is bigger. He's got a bigger base because he's bigger than the average bear. And speaking of an average bear, here's one. Here's an ARC Trooper. The ARC Troopers were made famous thanks to that Tartakovsky Clone Wars cartoon, and this guy is great. He has amazing stats. If I ever had an army with an ARC Trooper in it, it was going to be to my advantage. Faux show. Oh, and I love her. Look at her. She's got a lightsaber whip. Her whip is a lightsaber. What is she called? Mistral Shadow Guard. Fantastic. Here's one of my favorite just sculpts for the figurines. This is a Twi'lek Assassin. Look at that. That's beautiful. The paint, the colors, the pose, the fact that she hasn't broken even though she's barely attached to this base. I used to use her in armies just because of how cool she looked. She probably wasn't even that great a character, but wow, awesome. Then you got some more big Stormtrooper robot guys. This is Dark Trooper Phase 3. He's a big deal. He's got a big gun. Here's a Geonosian with a sonic blaster. I really liked the noises those blasters made in the movie. Again, great sculpt. Look, he's standing on a little rock. Here's a Bothan Spy. Many of these guys died to bring us this information, but here's what a Bothan Spy looks like. Again, the paint on this guy is great. Look at him. He's about to throw a thermal detonator. I feel like today, if this game had come out today, you'd be paying a premium for the fact that these look so good and are painted so well. Back when I was buying these booster packs, they were about, I think, 12 or 13 bucks for a booster pack. I feel like today, because of how these look and because of how the industry is now, you wouldn't be able to get it for less than 30, which is kind of sad. Here's a Stormtrooper, and I think he's a Stormtrooper officer. Yeah, he's a dusty Stormtrooper officer. And he's pointing and he's like, hey, get them. Awesome looking figure. Look at the detail on that Stormtrooper. He's not just a white blobby mess. You can see everything on that armor. And an elite Hoth Trooper. I love the color on those goggles. He looks sweet. Here's a Wookiee warrior. He's got an axe, and he's got an axe to grind. Look how angry he looks. That is one mad Wookiee. I remember using these guys a lot. Wookiee Commando. He's only worth 9 points, so you can have a bunch of them on your team. Isn't that awesome? That just looks so friggin' cool. You see that charging at you on the battlefield, you're in trouble. And here's a Mandalorian with 2 vibro blades. Like, how could you not want this on your team? Maybe we'll see that in season 2. I don't know. He's kind of like the armorer. And he's got a little bit of Knight of Ren stuff going on his helmet there. Kind of like the grenade face look. Just a tad. So those are the uncommons. Now let's kick it up another notch. So there were a few sets, like I mentioned. I think there were about 9 or 10 sets. And most of them, you would get a regular size box and you would get these characters in them, and you get about, I think, 11 minis in a box. Then they started coming out with sets, though, that had bigger boxes because they came with bigger miniatures. And that includes this right here. Like, this is when we start getting into, I think the game called them huge. I think that was just the name for it, huge miniatures. For example, here's a Clone Trooper, and he's just on a Bark Speeder. And as you can tell from the bottom, there's a star. The star means he's rare. This is a rare figure. He's on a Bark Speeder. He's powerful. I had a few of these, and one of them actually broke because the glue wasn't the greatest on it, but he's another guy on a speeder, and he floats around, and that looks awesome, especially when it's on the battlefield next to some little guys. But they made a bunch of these huge ones, and I had quite a few. Here's one of those corporate alliance droids, I think. Yeah, the tank droid. A baby crate dragon. And now he's got this. He's got a star inside a circle. That means he is a mythic rare. He is very, very hard to find. That would terrify folks when they would bring out their, you know, legions of troopers or whatever. And then I'd be like, well, I got a young crate dragon, so I don't know if you can top that. It looks so cool, especially, again, when it's next to the smaller figures. And then there's more. There's some more clones in a different speeder. I forget what this one was called. This is called the ISP speeder. Looks so damn cool with that big engine in the back. But there's more. There's this Mandalorian war droid. And look, there's just a Mandalorian guy riding on this. This is the Basilisk war droid. If you played the Knights of the Old Republic, they talk about those a lot. But there's still more. I had the other two creatures from the Colosseum. I have the Acklay and the Reek. So I could essentially recreate the Colosseum scene with the monsters because I had them all, and I had a few Geonosians too. But this poor clone trooper, he's still surrounded a little bit because he's got other friends joining the party. He's got this monstrosity. I don't even remember what this is called. This is an X1 Viper droid. It's a fringe character, so it can be thrown into any army. And dear God, if you saw this coming in your opponent's army, I think forfeiting would be the right choice. The size comparison is massive. That is a big figurine, and it's heavy too. It's solid. Of course, it wouldn't be Star Wars, and it wouldn't be huge unless you had one of these puppies. And yeah, I've got this guy. I think I had to buy him separately. Yeah, that picture at the top of the Scout Trooper helmet, that means he's part of an Endor pack that only had 4 characters in it. See how he's 1 out of 4? So I think it came with him, like 2 Scout Troopers and an Ewok or something. Otherwise, he's you can get him in the regular boosters, but he's even harder to find. He'd be a mythic rare instead of just a rare. Again, the scale is great. He is exactly to scale with these human-sized characters. Now, an AT-ST is great, but I mean, everybody's heart, I think, lies with the AT-AT, which is, as we all know, much bigger than anything we see here. They couldn't possibly do an AT-AT, could they? Well, the answer is yeah, actually, they could, and they did, but I was not a rich child, so I did not own one. But you can find, I found some pictures of it online. This is what it looks like. It came in its own box. And its base, I don't know if you can tell from this picture, it's kind of hard to see, but the base was so massive that it basically becomes part of the board. It has squares on it so that the smaller characters can kind of walk around underneath it and between its legs and shoot up at it, and so on and so forth. I think it costs like $150. I've only seen it in the wild once. I remember it was at the comic book store here in Brampton when I was going to high school, and I would just kind of stare longingly at it like Charlie Bucket staring at a piece of chocolate that he can't have. But it's okay, I made do with what I had. But you're probably thinking, okay, Andrew, we've seen AT-ATs and AT-STs, and we've seen clones and battle droids and whatever the hell that Dark Hellion swoop bike guy was, but where's, you know, Luke Skywalker? Well, let me show you. All right, so this is what a booster pack looks like if it has a huge miniature in it. So this is from the set called Bounty Hunters. It's a Bounty Hunters booster pack. You can see there's a picture of that Basilisk war droid. The boosters that didn't have huge miniatures were about half as narrow. They were, I don't have any of those boxes, but they were, you know, half as much because it didn't need to have something huge and chunky inside it. And I put all my rare one-of-a-kind characters inside this box. So I have to be careful because some of them are kind of fragile, but we'll start pulling them out and we'll take a look at what we got here. So I have a lot of, because I was actively seeking them, I have a lot of clone era Jedi Masters. So there's Aegon Kolar, and we'll just see what we can find in here. There's a Jango Fett, who is a mythic rare. This is a very difficult to find Jango Fett, but look how beautiful he is. Revenge era Anakin, classic. That's the Anakin I think of when I think of Anakin. This guy, all right, this guy's a little bit bent, but there's a story behind him. This is Exar Kun. He is from the Old Republic Dark Horse Comics, Exar Kun. He's a mythic rare, and he's worth 84 points. He's worth a lot. So essentially, you use him, I think that's it. You can't really use anybody else. But he was so overpowered that he basically broke the game. I used to play this with my buddies. I got some of my buddies hooked on it. They would buy packs. I would buy packs. I'm the only one who ever found Exar Kun, and I actually found him twice. I have 2 of him. And he's so overpowered that it got to a point where I told my friends, I was like, I can't use him anymore. It's just not fair. Exar Kun just destroys the foundations of the game. He's OP. He's the definition of OP. But that's okay, because we got Asajj Ventress looking pretty fine. That's a great Asajj Ventress. What else we got in this bag? This box of tricks. It's fun bringing out these old characters. There's Ki-Adi-Mundi with the lightsabers get bent just because, you know, that part of the plastic is very cheap and soft, so it bends, and you just have to carefully bend it back so that it doesn't snap. But I'd rather it be that way because if they were rigid, they would snap much more easily. There's Lobot. Who doesn't want to get Lobot as their rare? And that's the thing, because all these unique characters were always either rare or mythic rare, and you only get one rare figure in a box. So sometimes, you'd open a box and you'd get, Barriss Offee, and you'd be like, oh, sweet, I got a Jedi. That's cool. This is a really nice figurine. And then sometimes you would get, a Gungan on a Kadu, which is a beautiful figurine. I had to super glue his arm because it kept falling off, so it's very fragile. In fact, you can see his arm is just basically hanging in there by a thread. But that would be like, oh, you think that's my rare? Really? I got just him? Here's a Jango Fett that's not as good as this one in terms of the actual figure and what he can do, what his abilities are. Here's the other Exar Kun that I got, and this one, I didn't take off the plastic on his lights. Well, no, it just fell off on its own. There's Ponda Baba. There's my boy Luke. I wanted this Luke so badly, and I was so happy when I finally got him, because to me, this is Luke. Black, Return of the Jedi, green saber, that's Luke. There's Vader. This is an intense Vader. He came in like this other smaller set, kind of like how the AT-ST was. So I think that's the only reason I got my hands on a Vader that looks this good, because normally Vader is extremely hard to find. Here is Darth Sidious during his duel with Mace Windu, and they all have slightly different names. So for example, this one is called Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, but there might be another one with a totally different look and different powers and abilities, and that one's just called Darth Sidious, or it could be called Darth Sidious, Emperor of the Galaxy, or just something like that. Cool Phantom Menace Padme. There's Mace Windu, and his saber is kind of pink, but we'll let that slide. General Windu, that's what this one's called, because this is from the Clone Wars specifically. I have a Revenge of the Sith Mace Windu in here somewhere. He'll come out when he comes out. There's Commander Gree. That is a beautiful figure. And who else is coming out of the box? Guri. She was the Legends character. She was from Shadows of the Empire, and she's got 2 knives. Princess Leia disguised as Boushh. Yoto. Okay. Here we go. This is Darth Nihilus, worth 44 points. He is from Knights of the Old Republic 2. He is my favorite Legends character. I love Darth Nihilus so much, and I still remember that day this set came out, and I remember hearing about it and hearing, oh my god, there's a set with Darth Nihilus. I bought my first booster, and he was the rare inside. And it was literally like, that was all I wanted. I just wanted to get him, and I got him right away on that first day. I'm usually never that lucky when it comes to collectibles like this, but I was so happy that I got him, and he's a really, really good figure too. His stats are off the charts. What else we got here? We got Nama Nor. This is a Yuuzhan Vong, and this is what I mean, like you open a booster, and sometimes you get really cool rares like Darth Nihilus or like Luke, and then sometimes you just get this guy Nama Nor, and it's like, oh, okay. He's a guy with a cloak. All right, fine. What else we got here? We got Old Man Kenobi. Here's Danik Jericho. I don't know how I ended up with Danik Jericho. There's Lando Calrissian, baby, but this is not just any Lando. This is Lando Calrissian, Hero of Tanab. Here is Grand Moff Tarkin. You may fire when ready. Here is something I was really happy to get to. I got Darth Sidious, or rather, sorry, Emperor Palpatine, Sith Lord, the rarest villain in the Revenge of the Sith set. He is so cool. I would use him all the time when I got him. How many points was he worth? 62? Yeah, totally worth it. And I was very pleased with myself. And there's Kit Fisto, who you can make them fight, but Kit will lose. Okay, there's Commander Cody, young Mon Mothma. I remember calling my friend Joe and talking to him on the phone because Mon Mothma was his least favorite character. He just thought she was lame for whatever reason. I think Mon Mothma's awesome. I'm glad I got her. But I remember calling him on the phone and saying, hey, I bought a pack of Star Wars minis. And he was like, oh, who was your rare? And I laughed and I said, actually, it's Mon Mothma. And he was like, oh, I can't believe it. And he went on like this tirade about how I got ripped off by that booster pack. But I like this Mon Mothma. I'm glad I got her. And I also got this other rare here, who I don't know why he's in here with these guys, but he's a Separatist droid. He doesn't have a name, but we'll name him. His name is Kyle. There's Obi-Wan from Attack of the Clones. There's good old plain Jane Lando Calrissian, who I like better than that Hero of Tanab one, because he's got the gold cape. That's my Lando. And you can't have Lando without Bosk stepping on a Trandoshan skull. There's Plo Koon. Now, this was before the Clone Wars CG cartoon came out. So this is before I knew just how cool Plo Koon was, but there he is. There's Dash Rendar, a fella from Legends who has not come back, sadly, but I have him in miniature form for the day he ever does. And there's Kyle Katarn. I don't know if he ever hung out with Dash, but I'm going to pretend like they're friends because he has a beard and Dash and him can exchange beard notes. This is a Yuzan Vong figure who I absolutely love. Like, he just looks great. His name is Warmaster Savong La, and I think he was the most rare Yuzan Vong, at least in this set, because I remember freaking out when I got him because he looked so cool. There's Piet. He's one of those anniversary ones, so he's got a square base. Not much else you can expect. There's Mace Windu in Revenge of the Sith, one of the best figurines, one of the ones I was the most excited about getting. Here's Darth Maul on his speeder bike, which I remember being one of the last figures I ever got before I stopped collecting. Chewbacca with his bowcaster, casting bows. I was really happy to get Chewbacca. I was not quite as happy to get this guy. This is a Storm Commando. It's like some kind of weird stormtrooper who's kind of like a SEAL Team 6 stormtrooper. I wish this wasn't uncommon instead. Because when you open a box and this is your rare, it's like, oh, I could have gotten, you know, Lando or Leia. Instead, I got this guy. Like, no thanks. Here's Jaspur, another Cantina fellow. Kind of neat that I was starting to collect all the Cantina folks. And that also includes Greedo. There's Greedo. Here is my first rare figure I ever got because he came in that starter box. He is the Revenge of the Sith era Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is Mandalore the Indomitable, the mythic rare leader of all the Mandalorians in the Old Republic era. He's a beast. Look at that. I don't know if we'll see that on the show, that costume, but my God, he's basically the Genghis Khan of Mandalore, and it shows, baby. I'm one of the people, I'm in the camp where I think it is awesome that we got to see Yoda fight with a lightsaber. I know some people think it was stupid. I could not disagree more. I am very happy that we got a fighting Yoda. And this is a weird one. This is Han Solo in Carbonite. And this actually is the final rare that I got, not Darth Maul. This is the last box I ever bought. Han in Carbonite, and I think it was a sign. It was the universe telling me to stop wasting money on these. Because it's like, hey, Andrew, here's your rare, a Han Solo that can't do anything. There's Luminar Unduli. You can have her team up with Barasafi and kick some bum. There's Talon Card, another Legends guy. He's got big arms, so he cut off the sleeves of his vest to show us how big his arms are. There is Forlom. So we got one of our bounty hunters. Here we go. I'm going to breeze through the rest. C-3PO. He looks really cool. I can't remember what he did, but I was just happy I got him. Commander Bakara, again, not a rare I would have looked forward to. There's regular Han Solo. There's an awesome Mara Jade. That's a beautiful figurine. I love the metallic sheen on the purple. There's IG-88, and there's Bib Fortuna. And of course, you can't have Bib Fortuna without a snowtrooper with an E-Web blaster. E-Web blaster, I remember learning all about it while I was getting these figurines and while I was reading those weapon books. So when Moff Gideon starts talking about it in Mandalorian, I'm like, yay, I know what he's talking about. I know what an E-Web is. And I ended up getting a lot of these guys. There's a destroyer droid rolling. There was another destroyer droid you could get where he was actually open and he had the shield around him. But that one was harder to find. But I got the rolling one, so that's okay. I also got a Wampa. Big, scary Wampa, rampaging Wampa. This was a really cool figure. I was really pleased I got this. And you can pair him up with Luke on this Tauntaun, because that's how I rolled. Bib Fortuna, like I said, goes hand in hand with Jabba the Hutt, but I actually have two Jabbas. I have this anniversary one, which looks like how he looked in The Phantom Menace, and then I have this much cooler Return of the Jedi era Jabba the Hutt, who comes with Salacious Crumb and his little hookah. I think they're both mythic rare. They are both mythic rare. See, this one's called Jabba Crime Lord, and this one's just called Jabba the Hutt. But that is all of my rare characters who I kept in this separate box. I never got Leia, which kind of is unfortunate. I got the whole crew except Leia, but there you have it. So every single miniature you got would come with its own card, and the cards would be different colors depending on what faction they were. So you've got their Republic, Separatist, Rebel, Imperial, New Republic, Yuzan Vong, Mandalore, Old Sith, and Fringe. And the Fringe I have the most of because there were a lot of Fringe characters. And here's the way this works. So you would get a figure and you'd be like, okay, and you get the card associated with it. So here's Forlom. All right, there's our buddy Forlom. You turn him over and it shows you how many hit points he has. So he has 70. That's how many points he's worth, by the way. He's worth 21 points. So he's got hit points, he's got defense, he's got an attack modifier, and how much damage he does when he attacks, and then just special abilities. So he's unique, which means you can only have one Forlom. You can't clone him. He's a droid.
So he gets that. He gets these, all these little special things, and it would tell you everything you need to know for how to use him. That's how a card looks. That's the anatomy of a card. See, somebody like C-3PO, who's not really combat oriented, he's only got 30 hit points. He doesn't do damage at all. He doesn't have an attack. He's got a higher defense, though, and he can do different things, like he can draw fire. If an enemy targets an ally within 6 squares of this character, you may force that enemy to target this character instead if it can. And then you can do like a saving throw to get away from it. So they all have different little things like that. So I mentioned Exar Kun. All right, so here's our Sith. There's Darth Nihilus, Exar Kun. Let me show you another Jedi, just so you get an idea of what other Jedi look like. See, so here's Corran Horn. The Jedi were always tougher. He's worth 120 points. Defense is 20, which is high. Attack is 13, and damage is 20. All right, those are good stats. Corran Horn is a good card to get. Then you've got Exar Kun. Hit points are 180, defense is 23, attack is plus 19, and damage is 20. And he's got a full rap sheet of different things you can do as well, including a commander effect, a triple attack, transferring essence, Sith Rage, Sith Sorcery, momentum. Like, it's so much. Like, they went overboard with Exar Kun. And what's Darth Nihilus? Like, I can't remember, but he was good too. Yeah, see, he's still a fantastic character to have. And there's a little bit of flavor text too. So that's how the cards look. And every character, from the lowliest pit droid to the mightiest ATST, got their own card. And that's how you play, in a nutshell, Star Wars miniatures. You use these stats, you move around the board, you attack the opposing army until there are no opposing army people left. The end.
There you have it, scumbags. That's it. Summer of Legends has come to its rockin' conclusion. Thank you so much for spending time with us here this summer. We hope that you enjoyed these peeks into the world of Legends, at least the world of Legends that I have kicking around in my closet, because there's a whole other world of whole other Legends that I never even delved into that I couldn't make videos about because I don't got none of them in my hands. I couldn't get my grubby meat hooks on certain things, but I had some fun. I hope you all had some fun. Stay safe out there, stay healthy, and stay tuned to Rebel Scum Podcast because there's always more fun stuff coming down the pipeline. Once again, I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much, my scumbag homies. I will see you all again soon. Until then, may the force of others be with you.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.